Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be really short and simple. And as you can probably tell by the title, I'm just going to be giving you guys some study tips that I feel like will help you in your study journey, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I just have like a list of things I want to talk about here on my phone. And without further ado, let's get started. So yeah, first thing on my list is make a timetable. So first of all, to actually achieve something in like a study session, you need a timetable for you to actually know when to study, what you're going to study, and when you want to study what you're going to study. So for example, let's say you're a medical student and you want to study anatomy or something, then you can write that anatomy. Then you go that extra step and specify what part of anatomy do you want to study. Is the anatomy of the head and neck, or thorax, or abdomen, pelvis, whatever it is. Then you even go another step further and write out all the materials that you want to study anatomy, head and neck from. If it's Nettah's, if it's YouTube, if it's KenHub, whatever it is you want to use. And then you can just specify the amount of time that you want to spend studying that. And also be sure to include breaks, you guys. Yes. Anyway, just make a timetable and make sure you stick with your timetable. Number 2 is to make a goal for each study session. After making your timetable and you're okay, today's Monday, I'm studying anatomy, head and neck. I'm using KenHub videos and Nettah's textbook, and I'm gonna try and know all the arteries, the branches, how they form together, things like that. Or I'm just gonna study the arteries, the veins, and the nerves, things like that. Then you say, okay, at the end of this study session, so I want to have perfected all the arterial blood supply to the head and the neck, or like at the end of this study session, I want to have mastered the blood supply to the neck or to the head, or just a specific goal that, okay, so when you finish the study session, you know that you have completed this particular task and you have knowledge about that particular topic. And so when you go back to like review it, which is in my later points, when you go back to review it, you try to answer questions on that first before you go back and flip open your books. Yeah, just make a goal for that section, so that when you're done studying, you feel like you've achieved something. Because when you make a goal and you achieve it at the end of that session, it's kind of rewarding to you, and you want to make more goals and want to achieve them, because when you achieve that particular goal, you feel motivated to create more goals, because that previous goal was achievable, and so it will cheer you up to set more goals and achieve more goals. And with little goals like that, you're making little steps, and that before you know it, probably by the end of the week, depending on how much time you put into your studying, at the end of the week, you might have mastered the anatomy of the whole body. By creating goals like that you know that your baby steps are actually making big impacts in your academics. The third point I have is track your progress. If you completed that goal for that session, you would want to mark it off your calendar, like, okay, I have studied this and I have achieved this so far. So far I have been able to study the anatomy of the head and neck, and I understand the concept of it very well. Or let's say you're studying pathology or microbiology, you could be like, okay, I've studied this much bacteria. If I was given this, then I know how to do this. It's like, okay, when I studied anatomy, I didn't know this, but now I know this. Now I know how to handle this. Now I know what artery supplies this part of the head. Now I know what vein supplies this part, what brain. Okay, calm down. Okay, so at the end of that anatomy session, what you want to do is, I started the week with this knowledge, and now I'm ending the week with this knowledge. Now I know what artery supplies the head and the neck. And now I know what vein drains the head and the neck. And trust me, you're going to be so proud of yourself when you see that, okay, I am actually making some type of progress. It doesn't matter how slow your progress is. As long as you're moving forward and not backwards, that's perfectly fine. And people say, no, you can't move. You can move backwards, because with time, after not studying, you're gonna start forgetting everything. And I'm talking from experience, you guys. And that can get really frustrating. But yeah, don't get frustrated. It happens to everybody. It happens to everybody. Okay? Try studying in the morning. Yeah, if you have the time, studying in the morning is better. So basically, yeah, this is not even like something that other people are saying. I have tested it myself. When I finished my OBGYN rotation, during my OBGYN rotations, I used to wake up at 5 a.m. And so after the rotations, I continued waking up at 5 a.m. to study. Because I had started it before OBGYN, so I could get used to waking up at 5 a.m. and I won't be so tired during the day. And so rather than sleeping at 3 a.m., I would sleep by like, let's say 10, 11, and then I wake up at 5, and I'm not tired during the day, you know. So yeah, I realized that waking up in the morning and putting that information in my head, studying wherever it is, was making me more productive, and I was remembering stuff and understanding them way better than I would when I was watching during the day. And the fact that most people are not awake by that time, the distractions are so little, and like when I wake up, I'm not that interested in what's going on Instagram or whatever. There was the time I actually noticed that it works so good was like one of these days when I woke up at 5 a.m. and then I studied the biology of the heart, and I remembered everything up until the next day, and then the third day, and I was like, wow. And it wasn't even something that I was like cramming. I was genuinely studying it to understand. That's another tip: study to understand. Most times when you study to memorize things, you forget it. There's no way. When you study to understand, you understand the concept, and so when you ask yourself a question, then you start answering it, and then you see that okay, I could definitely give someone a lecture on this topic. Yeah, so let's actually get into the tips. Okay, so for each study section, I would actually advise that we use this timer technique called the Pomodoro technique. So basically what the Pomodoro technique is, it's like a 25 on, 5 minutes off, where you do like 4 25-minute cycles of studying, and then you get 5-minute break each. And then after the 4 cycles, then you can increase your break to like 15 minutes, and you can probably increase your study time to like 15 minutes on, 10 minutes off. If you're just starting out with the Pomodoro technique, I will advise that you do the 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, so you can get into like the vibe of it. You know, you can get into the groove. Me, I started with the 25 on, 5 minutes off, and then I increased. I saw that I could go 15 minutes. You know, I'll do the first 25, and then to change to 5, then I'll carry back to 25, and then just start that whole cycle again. And then after 15 minutes, I'll just take like a 10 minutes break, or just go do something I really needed to do at that point, or just continue, you know. But I try to take a break, just switch off my brain. You can either take a break to like revise what you've been doing, which I don't advise. I will actually advise you just chill, listen to music, or just scroll through Instagram. Just relax your brain so that information can settle in, and then before you start the next session, you can just quickly revise what it is that you studied in the previous section. If you're feeling a bit confident about it, then you can just ask yourself a few questions, and I'll still talk about that method. It's called active recall method. I'll still talk about that in like later. Let me show you guys what it looks like. Basically, there's like an app, and then there's like an online timer. Okay. This is it. Homo focus. Okay, so this is the Pomodoro. 25 minutes on, and then you have to like short breaks, and then long break, which is 15 minutes. This one is after you've done like 4 cycles of like the 25 minutes on. So yeah, if you just start, it's gonna like continue, and then you can also use this as a timetable. Like you can use this to set up a timetable where you just add a task and like whoever it is you want to do. So yeah, we're moving to active recall next. Active recall basically is something that I'm still researching on, but I'm just going to tell you guys like what it is about. Active recall is in the name, where you actively try to remember things from your brain. Let's say I want to read the Bible. But before I read the Bible, I'll be like, okay, what does John chapter 1 verse 1 says? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So basically, you ask yourself a question, and then you and your brain, you're going to try to answer that question without looking at your book or without checking for answers. And then when you finish answering the question, if you can answer the question, then you see if you're right or wrong. So basically, what you're doing is you're stimulating your brain to bring out that information if it was even there in the first place. And for the most part, these things we've learned, but learning something once and not revising it can push the information out of your head. Now, active recall, when you've learned something and you actually know it, when you get to you remembering, like trying to answer a question, it's going to come out. And you can watch my other video. I'm going to link it up here. Is it up here or up here? I'm going to link up somewhere. You can watch that one and put some of the videos that I watched to learn about active recall. And you can just leave a link to some of them down in the description if you want to watch them. Yeah, so another one is spaced repetition. Learn and use spaced repetition. So spaced repetition also goes with active recall. Basically what spaced repetition is like, you space your revisions basically. So you study something today, and by, let's say, 2 days later, you ask yourself that question, and then you study again. It's like a graph. You study in, and then the learning, like it's called the forgetting curve, right? It's when you learn something and when you forget it. So that time it will keep sloping down. But the more you learn it, the higher, the slower it is for you to forget, basically. And then with time, that line is just going to be straight rather than curving down. It's going to be straight because now the information will be imprinted in your brain. And so that's what spaced repetition is basically what it is. I'm going to link a video, and then you guys can watch more about that because I'm not a professional. I also just learned about it recently, so yeah. I have just 2 points left. Another study tip I will give is for you to listen to medical podcasts. Yeah, I'll leave some of the podcasts that I listen to, but mostly because I listen for rotations. Yeah, I started listening to this surgical podcast. I think it's called Behind the Knife. Yeah, I think it's Behind the Knife. Anyways, I actually learned a lot listening to them. Yeah, it's actually chill. I would recommend them to anybody because they give you some good information there. And yeah, listen to medical podcasts. It's really going to help you. And last but not the least, this one is very important, you guys. Are you ready? My last tip for you is to calm down, relax. You got this. That's literally what I wrote. See? Calm down, relax, you've got this. You're smart. You're not dumb. I mean, you got into school. I don't care how you got into school, baby. It takes a level of smartness to get into school. You are smart. You've got this. You will excel. You'll be that great lawyer. You'll be that great doctor. You'll be that great economist. You'll be that great socialist. Whatever it is that you're studying, you're going to be great in that field. You know why? Because you're calm, you're relaxed, and you've got this. You're a success, honestly. Like, you're destined to be great. And if studying is what you have to do to achieve that greatness, so yeah, study. Make it fun. Enjoy studying. Studying can be fun. It can, honestly. Studying on time, you know why most people feel like studying is not fun? Because they try to fit a whole year's schedule into a month, and by that point, child, may the Lord be with you. But imagine if you studied in the beginning of the year, sis, you will be boiling halfway through because you're not tensed, and so you have much more brain capacity to assimilate and understand what you're studying. So yeah. Anyways, I've been talking for way too long. Oh, you guys see my face? I'm cute, right? I know. Anyways, that is my study tip for you guys. I have to go study because I just woke up like 30 minutes ago. Yeah, so I have to study. I'm feeling very productive. Oh, and before I go, let me share this quote with you guys. Do not rely on motivation. You're not always going to be motivated to study. You're not. Trust me, I know. This whole week, I was waiting for some type of motivation. I don't know where the motivation is coming from. Anyways, I was waiting for motivation. And I realized that motivation is not coming. It's not coming. You have to motivate yourself. Because you're not going to be motivated. Nobody's going to motivate you. And so whether or not you're feeling motivated, carry that book, study, carry that video, watch it, carry your pen and paper, write it down, carry that question and answer, solve it. Just do it. Just do it. Motivated or not. You're going to be proud of yourself in the long run. And that is the end of today's video, you guys. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Let me know your study tips down below. Like, what is something that you do different? Let us know. Let this be a safe space for everybody. Bye, guys. Like Nellah once said, motivations are feelings, and feelings are fleeting. Okay? Well, you cannot be relying on feelings then, because sophomore, let me just tell you now. You cannot be relying on feelings. So just carry that book and read it now. Carry that book and read it now. Okay? But don't rush it too much, okay? Jesus loves you. Bye, guys.